Hi, I am Madison Miner with Protect Our Kids, and I have the great honor of being on Say What podcast today with Nicki Petrossi. I first became affiliated or acquainted with Nicki because her video went quite viral. It's just amazing the stuff that she discovered on her own child's iPad in school. So, Nicki, welcome to Say What podcast. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you, Madison. I wasn't sure what viral video you were talking about. Not that I have a million, but I was like, wait, which one? Is it the Snapchat test account or the kid's iPad? I couldn't remember.
It was the iPad. It was your
Yeah.
child taking a brain break, if I remember correctly, on their iPad. Do you want to kind of go into a
Yeah.
summary of what you experienced with that?
Yeah. So I got a call one day from a parent at school, and he knows I was passionate about this type of work. And his son was playing a math game on his iPad in school and was served an ad. And it was a naked woman, it was an ad for a virtual AI girlfriend. And so I was extremely concerned. So I went into my daughter's classroom, I think the same day, and I asked if I could just take a look at her iPad. And she was in third grade at the time. And I scrolled through a few things. I looked at some apps, some of the games that they call educational but are not. And I opened up YouTube because I've always been really concerned that they have YouTube on these school iPads, and they have access to shorts, which are that short video feed and algorithm of content from anywhere on YouTube that YouTube serves to you. And their goal is to keep you on longer. So it's really concerning what type of content could be in there. Anyway, I scrolled for a couple of minutes and I got served a self-harm video, like a video telling me, and luckily I saw it, not my daughter, but a video saying hurting yourself is easy. And it had a cut with blood dripping down. And that was followed by a blue swirl, which I later found out was like a symbol indicating it's a pedophile looking for children. So just like one of the worst videos that could exist
Wow.
being pushed to my daughter's school iPad on the school Wi-Fi. And so
Wow.
yeah, I shared it in real time to parents, and obviously parents everywhere were concerned, but I was more shocked that parents were like, I'm having similar issues, or my kid's getting access to pornography on theirs, or it just started this whole journey of getting interested in advocacy around making sure our kids are safe at school when they're using the technology that's given to them.
Well, and what shocks me about that, as kind of what you were saying, is these other parents experienced that. Why didn't they say anything? Did they bring it up to their school districts? Did
Hmm.
you? I mean, I know you were able to,
Yeah, that's a
but that
great
always
question.
shocks me is why are we the ones that have to be loud? Where's
Yeah.
everybody else?
I left out that when that dad had called me about the naked ad, I said, "Are you going to go tell the school?" And he said, "No, there's nothing they're going to do about it. I can't. Like we can't do anything about it." That's like the sentiment that people feel is either there's nothing we can do to change it, or
God.
or people are uncomfortable with confrontation, and that's been
Yeah.
a big thing that I've seen is people that are really uncomfortable pushing back because they don't. I mean, those conversations are super uncomfortable. Like me speaking at the school
Yeah.
board meeting about this was nerve wracking. My heart rate was so high. I mean, it was really uncomfortable, but it's really important to do that if it's about protecting your children.
Yeah. I feel like there shouldn't be a hesitation. Like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but
No,
so
yeah.
is your child being exposed to porn potentially in third grade. That's
Hmm.
to me, it's I don't know, that's kind of nonsense in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I had my kids out of that school within months after that. I mean, once after holiday break, they started in a low tech classical school because just the response from the school district was to gaslight me and not help with things like that.
Oh,
So I had to pull them out.
wow. So I've had a friend go through something similar. It was her child was exposed to inappropriate books. And
Mm.
the district that we live in, their response was to take away her child's iPad. And it's like,
Oh.
okay, you took away her child's iPad. Her child was able in TK
Hmm.
to have access, or she was in first grade, I guess, but she could have accessed it at 4 years old because it was open to TKers.
Uh-huh.
And the book talked about sodomy and rape and incest and anything gross and disgusting,
Wow.
pedophilia,
Wow.
uh, that you could imagine. It was exposed in this book, and her child couldn't read. And so all the child had to do was push play, and it read the book to her.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But the district, the response, similar to what you're saying, is they didn't turn it off. They didn't,
Hmm.
delete the book from the library. They simply took away the child's iPad. But there's still hundreds of kids, thousands of kids that age
Hmm.
that could have done the same thing that this little girl did.
Yeah.
And so lately you've been a powerhouse and very busy, traveling all over California, it looks like. And so it looks like something that you've been focusing on with the Heat Initiative has
Hmm.
been AI. So can you tell a little bit about what you've been doing with the Heat Initiative and why that
Yeah,
started?
so the Heat Initiative focuses on all kinds of areas, but basically it's a group of incredible women and moms who used to work with the tech companies. So he used to work for another organization that would work with the tech companies, the social media companies, to help make their platforms safer. But what they realized over time is like the social media companies aren't doing what we are recommending. Like they're not making the changes necessary to protect kids, no matter how much we try to convince them. And so these incredible women started their own organization that basically puts public corporate pressure on these companies with really bold and brave actions. We call them direct actions. And so I have been able to go with them to several different protests at, Meta headquarters. They put together an incredible memorial for children that have passed away because of social media harms in DC. And yesterday, so that was September 9th. We were up in Silicon Valley. It was the revealing of the iPhone 17 at Apple Park, which is like a big stadium in Silicon Valley, technically Cupertino. And this team, they've been trying to work with Apple for years. This is a point of contention. Apple hosts child sexual abuse material in the iCloud. Now, there are known images. So there's images of children that exist online that have been reported to law enforcement. And there are tools to scrub the internet. Once it's been reported to law enforcement, there are certain take it down tools that can get that image off. But the images end up back online because pedophiles, share them from their phones and have them in iCloud and save them there, and then they re-upload them. So these victims are re-victimized over and over, no matter how well these other tools work. So Apple could go through their iCloud very privately, not look at everyone's images, but find these known images and remove them from the iCloud. And there's over about 32,000 known victims, like individual victims, children and adults now. And Apple chooses not to do this. And so yesterday's action was about bringing awareness to the fact that Tim Cook, the CEO in Apple, has chosen not to take this step and protect children. So what they did was hold this giant banner. We blocked an intersection and they held this banner up, and it basically said, new iPhone, still spreading child sexual abuse. And it had a picture of Tim Cook on it, just bringing it was super effective in bringing awareness to the fact that they're spending all this money on a new fangled iPhone. Why not put a little resources to doing this, which would protect kids?
It doesn't seem like that would be a difficult thing to implement. Who are you catering to by not simply protecting children with these changes?
And Heat Initiative could speak more intelligently to this, but I know that their number one thing is privacy. It's in all their advertisements, and they're like, it's the most private system. These devices are private, which is great for adults, and adults respect want privacy. And so there is concern from adults okay, they're going to scan the whole iCloud. I don't want them looking at my images. What if I have nude images in the iCloud, of me, but I'm an adult, whatever. And so the key point is that these are images that are reported to law enforcement, and they have I don't know the right terminology, but some kind of code in the image that they can be found without just literally revealing and looking at every single image. And so
probably some sort of a facial recognition.
Something like that, in the code of the photo or something. So there's a technical way to do it that doesn't put other people's privacy at risk. But I think that Apple is sitting behind this idea that people's privacy will be at risk and using that. And again, he can speak more specifically. They're a great interview to anyone from their team, but I'm just proud to be able to partner with them and do some direct action work, because I do a lot of trying to pass laws and lawsuits even and things like that, covering all of that. But this seems to be a real effective way, and putting pressure on from all sides is important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. I watched your interview with, is it Shauna Schwartz? Shauna, she is such a wealth of information as well.
Yes.
But I loved what you guys talked about when it came to our kids actually being educated by electronics, by devices.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of go into detail about what you learned from that interview with her?
What I've learned from the research is that anyone learns much more effectively from hand to paper lessons, face-to-face lessons, and in group in-person settings. We see this in the test scores over the past decade or plus, since we gave kids access to one-to-one devices in the classroom, all the way back 2009-10. Test scores have plummeted globally in all the countries where one-to-one was implemented. So we know for sure that kids are unfortunately dumber than ever, and that they don't learn well from devices. But also another big problem is the distractions. Kids spend an average of 36 minutes of every hour not doing what they should do, when they're on their school issued devices. When they use a device for homework, they spend 6 minutes before they jump over to like go social media or message their friends. And so they're very easily distracted. And it makes
Mm,
sense because we're giving them the devices that they use to like watch videos and play video games on to learn from. Like, of course, they're going to try to jump around and get
sure.
access to other things. And so there is distraction issues. There's the fact that they're getting a substandard education just from the devices in itself. And I mean, they're getting exposed to all kinds of inappropriate content like pornography.
Right.
Kids are cyberbullying each other on these devices. It's just like it's a
Yeah.
huge issue, and let alone the data privacy issues. Like our schools are opting in on our behalf, on parents' behalf, for so much data to be taken from our kids as they use these devices and then shared with other companies. And technically and legally, parents have to give permission for that. And so there's a
Right.
legal issue as well. So anyway, there's a lot. There's a lot on that. I am excited that some lawmakers are starting to talk about ed tech. You've kind of seen like phone-free schools take over the nation. I think almost
I
20
love
schools have
it.
passed. Yeah, I think nearly 20 schools have passed phone-free schools, or maybe over 20 now. But anyway, bell-to-bell
Yeah.
phone bans. But the problem is that a lot of the same issues and distractions that are available on the phones are also available on these adult devices we're giving kids to learn from. And so I was
Right.
just contacted by by some lawmakers in Oklahoma, and they're going
I
to bring
saw
me on
that.
to speak on this. So yeah, anyway, it's like becoming a thing that lawmakers are worried about is,
Yeah.
okay, this is not going so well. And now we're talking about bringing AI into the classroom. Like, hang on, like let's reassess and see how we can do this more safely. And it's not about like no tech at school at all. It's just about, can we do it intentionally and can we do it safely and can we delay it a little bit? Like, do we really need 4-year olds on these iPads? I don't think so. So
Right.
yeah, it's about just making adjustments for the health and safety of our kids.
Yeah. So, and you just talked a little bit about it. Artificial intelligence it's creepy. It's
Hmm.
very creepy.
Yeah.
And, but it's coming for us. And you also just experienced advocating against artificial intelligence apps. Is that correct?
Yeah. If I wonder if you're talking about the character AI chatbot or just chatbots in general. Yeah. So I first heard about Character AI, which is an app and also available in a web browser, and it's a companion app. It has chatbots that you can interact with through text, but also through voice conversations. And I first heard about this when I got in touch with a mom in Florida whose son, named Sewell, he one day just took his life out of nowhere at 14 years old, and she couldn't figure out why. And then she got access to his Character AI account, and it turns out he had been engaging with a Daenerys Targaryen, like a Game of Thrones themed chatbot, for
Okay.
months, and he had fallen in love with her. And when you review these chats, and when I say that she encouraged him to take his life and join her in her virtual world, like that's exactly what was going on. And it was so I have an interview with this mom on Scrolling to Death, but that was my first exposure to that. And then it's like, okay, wait, is this a one-off case or are there lots of chatbots like teaching
Yeah.
kids about self-harm, teaching them about suicide, having sex, like virtual sex with kids on these apps? And it turns out, yeah, that's like a pretty common experience. Now there's been a lot of studies about not just Character AI, which is maybe a lesser known to parents, although millions of kids use it, is like ChatGPT has recently been found to have harmful and sexual conversations with children to bring up suicide. And there's been lawsuits
Wow.
by families whose kids have been harmed and even passed away. Recently, there was a lawsuit. Adam, I can't remember his last name right now. Adam Rain, Raine. He took his life, and it turns out that he was engaging with ChatGPT for schoolwork, and then it became like more of a friend. And then the chatbot, I mean, told him like how to hang himself and all these horrible things. And so, I mean, that's why my stuff is called Scrolling to Death, because there's just like is such a
Yeah.
link to me between the how much time these kids are spending on online and their risk of suicidal ideation. And these chatbot companies are just like the social media companies. They only want your kid to be on the app for as long as possible. That is their ultimate goal. That's how they make money. And so these bots are going to be telling your kid what they want to hear, always available. Even some of the apps, like pinging them with notifications, like, I miss you, come back. So trying
Yeah.
to keep them on as long as possible, which is also really concerning. And something
So,
about when you're wondering about something, like you don't know an answer, and thinking for a few minutes about it and talking about it, brainstorming together. That's a really important skill. That is a brain skill that kids won't develop if they never use it. And so if you're just instantly being like, Alexa, why are roofs have shingles and aren't, like, that's what my son was wondering the other day and asking me, and why do they have shingles instead of like being a flat material, like just a one material? And I was like, I don't know. Let's talk about it.
That's a great question.
I know. I think it has something to do with like water, not having the water sheet down. Anyway, we had some ideas, and we haven't even Googled it to see what the answer is, but we had a great discussion about it, and we called my dad, which is something we like to do too, instead of like asking a robot, like call a grandparent.
Yeah, well, and I would even take it one step further and let's do an experiment. Like
Yeah, that's good.
let's put a, a piece of plastic down or a cookie
Uh-huh.
sheet, like a cookie sheet, and put
Yeah.
wax paper on it and
Yeah.
see how the water runs off it. And then maybe put like some graham crackers on it
Yeah. Oh my God.
and see if
Smart.
it's
I'm
like
so
I don't
not
know.
crafty.
It's
Yeah.
well, I'm not either, but that's like the classical that I've learned from my kids' school has been, oh no,
Yeah.
let's experiment too and have a hypothesis.
I
And
love that.
but kind of along those lines and what I was just saying, I've learned a lot from my kids' school because
Hmm.
I wasn't trained and raised in a classical school, and it's been so eye-opening
Hmm.
to my own faults as a mom. And
Mm.
so, kind of something that I was thinking about is, we have our own habits as parents. We
Mm.
are on our own phones constantly.
Yeah.
And so, how can do you have any ideas? Like, let's just talk through this. How can we as parents model that good behavior? Do you have
Hmm.
any habits that maybe you do at your house that
Hmm.
helps you with being a good example for your kiddos? Because I know I fail
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. This is the hard one. I mean, number one, like try to make your phone less enticing to you is always going to help. So even as a parent, like how many apps are on your phone? Probably 300 or 200. Do you need that many? It's going to take a little bit of time. Take a half an hour to go through and get rid of some apps you're
Go
not using.
scroll on your phone and take a
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the clutter is overwhelming in
yeah.
itself. And then think about notifications. Are there push notifications that are interrupting you throughout the day that you can turn off? There's a good step. I don't use an Apple Watch because I want to be as disconnected as possible. Okay, you too.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's healthy for
Yeah.
most adults. I think there may be some situations where it's helpful, but mostly I want to feel like I can disconnect. I
I love
don't
that.
like, so a couple other little tips, like don't use the little like pop socket thing that helps you hold your phone for hours. I don't have a case even. Like, I don't want to make this easier for me to be on all the time. So I want it slippy. I want it uncomfortable. Because I don't, what I'm trying to avoid is mindless solo media,
Yeah.
using my phone. And I'm not perfect at it, but what I don't do is that in front of my kids. So
Yeah.
that's a rule, is like, if I'm using my phone in front of my kids, which I do, I narrate what I'm doing. So I say, I'm going on Amazon to order this. I realized we're out of toilet paper or something. I'm going on the map to see how long it's going to take us to get here. So
Yeah.
they hear that I'm using it as a tool, and
Oh, I love
then
that.
you put it down, right? And so they see, okay, she used it as a tool, because the modeling, there's research to show that how you use your phone really affects how your kid's going to use their phone one day. And it's one of the most important things. No matter what you say out loud, it's what you do that's more important. And so, yeah, so those are some tips, like, and phone free during meals. Try to only do one device at a time, meaning if you're watching a movie with the kids, like, try not to have your phone on you. And I know that's hard, and it's hard for me sometimes. I probably like 3 out of 4 times I can go without it, but then it's like, oh, I really need to like check this thing, and I don't like this movie, and um, so, try for that. And then, yeah, I mean, my kids don't touch like, it's an adult device used as a tool. Try not to use it for entertainment in front of them so that they see that as an example. There's probably other things, like some people go grayscale to try to make it less like engaging. But I think, yeah, getting rid of those apps that you're spending a lot of time on, like taking breaks from those, is really important in the push notifications. Yeah, I'm sure there's more, but those are some of my tips that come to mind.
I love it. No, I think those are all very convicting.
Mm. Now you're like,
I
oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing that you said that resonated with me is, and maybe that's exactly why our kids should stay off devices, is it is very addictive.
yeah.
And, I am on my phone a little bit here and there throughout the day. Like this interview is on my laptop, so it's a little bit different, but
Hmm.
I'm not needing to be on my phone all day, but I do find that I tend to multitask with,
Hmm.
the computer or the TV with my
Yeah.
phone or with my computer.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's very overstimulating. And then how do you turn your
Yeah.
brain off at night to
Yeah. I mean,
get a
that's how
good
it was
night's sleep?
built. Like, that's how these companies built it to be. Like, they had literally have neuroscientists like building in functionality so that we can't put it down, and that when we go to
Yeah.
it, to like, I'll use it to edit a video, and then I'm constantly like, and then I go right to Instagram or whatever news, and it's just they build it so that you can't shut it down very easily. So it's not anyone's fault. It's like your brain just doing what they trained it to do, which is kind of
Yeah.
like, it should piss you off a little. Like they like hijacked us, it's not
They
okay.
knew.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
knew what they were doing.
I know. Yeah. And even the kids with the monitoring and even the kids without devices are still getting harmed because all their friends have them. And so it's like a societal shift that needs to happen of like, social media is not safe for kids. I'm going to say under 18, but I'll say 16 maybe, to be more realistic. Smartphones, iPhones should not be given to minors. I mean, and if
Yeah.
most parents start to make those choices, it won't be difficult to make those choices because everyone is, or the majority.
Yeah. Well, and so my oldest son is now 11. So he's still quite young, but
Hmm.
you're right. He's already, mom, so and so has an iPhone. They have a
Yeah.
phone. Can I get
Hmm.
a phone? And I'm firm. I say, nobody, nothing good will come of that. You don't
Hmm.
need one. Mom has the ability to pick you up from school.
Yeah.
And if not, daddy will come grab you or whatever. We have a
Yeah.
really good communication system.
Right.
And, but we have, with amongst his really close friends, we've kind of created this pact where we said, we're not going to get a phone unless, or for our kid, unless we talk about it with each other and
Yeah.
come to an agreement, because I just don't see the point in an 11
Yeah.
year old or even a
Mhm.
14-year-old needing a phone unless there's some, extreme situation.
Yeah. And once you
Um,
give that phone, I've just heard so many parents say they lost their child once they gave a smartphone. And there's
yeah.
research to show that every year earlier you give your child a smartphone, the more they'll suffer from depression and even suicidal ideation.
Wow.
So the addiction and the access to all that bad content and bad people is just truly not worth it. And the longer you can wait, the better. And then when it is time, we have so many more options now. Like, yes, a flip phone, but also kid safe devices, like companies that have spent years developing safe phones for kids, like Bark, Gab, Pinwheel, Trumi. There's
Yeah.
also, a watch if you want to go that direction, which has a lot more limited access, not Apple Watch, like Bark Watch. So we have options that we should default to because iPhones are not safe for children and they shouldn't be using them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking like if my son needs a phone that badly, he can use mine, first of all.
Hmm.
With my supervision, he calls a friend that he met at church camp that, they
Yeah.
have the sweetest little conversations.
Hmm.
Or maybe I'll just get like a wall phone with a cord and he can.
Yeah. So
I'm
look up
like,
the
do I even have one?
company.
I do. I have one right there.
Yeah, look up the company called Tin Can, and I think the website's tincan.kids.
I think I've
And
seen that.
okay, so yeah, they've been all over the news and everything. And they have an old version before they got more funding that is available now, and then you can pre-order the new version. Anyway, I'm not like partnered with them, but I just love it, and so many parents are sending me like the link, and I'm like, I know, I can't wait for it to be available because I think that having your kids be able to contact their friends on their own terms is important. And also teaching them to speak to their friend verbally rather than even having a video call or
Yeah.
texting. It's like, wait, what happened? Now kids are losing the ability to like talk to each other and talk to adults. And so this is like a way to develop those verbal communication skills that they're
Totally
losing.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's brilliant. I know I was looking into that. A girlfriend of mine, our sons are best friends, sent that to me. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, maybe that's a good option too. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm
I
gonna
love
get it
it.
as soon as it's available. I'm getting it for me, and then whoever my kids want to talk to. And I mean, they can call like other kids with that phone, but I think you can also program to make other calls. But the parent has control over who they can call, which is cool.
I like that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. So why did you name it Scrolling for Death? What made that your tagline?
yeah. So early on, I guess it was 2023, and I saw a Surgeon General's warning that 3 or more hours spent on social media for teens doubles their risk of anxiety and depression. And I thought that's crazy. And then I looked more into the research and I saw that like suicide rates had like tripled for kids aged 10 to 14. And all of these horrible statistics line up with when we started giving our kids access to smartphones and social media and addictive technologies. And so I really just saw a very clear link between the amount of time our kids are scrolling online and their the rates around suicide and literal death. And so yeah, I played around with a few things, and then I think it was like scroll and die, like that's really harsh. And my friend's like, no, scrolling to death, and I was like, oh, you're right, yes, that's what it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, it really just is a through line. Like every day, I'm like, here it is again, like another example of a kid on. I mean, since then, I've spoken to so many parents who've lost children. I have close relationships with a lot of them now. They've lost them to something that happened online, like so something that happened on social media. And so this is a literal, like the title is for the literal stories and the research, and it just exemplifies kind of what is happening online and how bad it really is. Like it really is that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I just watched, and it's kind of a weird twist, but if you haven't seen it, I won't give the plot away, but it's the Netflix series or Netflix documentary about catfishing.
Okay, so this morning at my kickboxing class, my instructor was going. It's so funny. I have to tell him tomorrow. He was going on and on and on about this show, High School Catfish or something,
Yeah.
and and then everyone else was talking about it, and so I'm like, okay, tonight I'm gonna watch that, and I am. That's on my list for tonight, which is funny.
Yeah. I'm absolutely not going to tell you
No,
the
don't.
clincher for it, but it, the main point of it is how easy it was for these teens
Hmm.
to be influenced by the person catfishing them
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
to be um, suicidal and to be
Hmm.
depressed and to
Yeah.
be impacted in any way.
Hmm.
Because, if that happened to you and I
Hmm.
mean, first of all, why do they have a phone if they're dealing with this kind of situation? The
Hmm.
first thing I would do as a mom, rip
Hmm.
that phone away and be like, okay, we're done. We're not going
Yeah.
to have
I know.
electronics. You don't need to be harassed by some psychopath.
Yeah.
That would be my first instinct, right?
Hmm.
But then that didn't happen. And
Hmm.
so watching that show and seeing how real internet bullying and access to these devices, it causes some serious problems for these kids.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I mean, I was just listening to the Meta whistleblower. She testified at Congress yesterday. I think we talked about that already, but she
yeah.
was talking about how quickly kids will, like, within just a couple interactions, they'll call someone their friend that they're talking to online. Like they're very trusting. That's how kids are. And so it doesn't take a lot for someone to befriend a child online. It doesn't take a lot.
No,
Yeah.
no. And I mean, if you experience, um, I don't know, as a child, it would be different. Now I look at it and I'm like, that's so silly that that would
Hmm.
depress you.
Hmm.
But these kids are having big feelings, and if that's all they know,
Yeah.
is their phone, and if they're addicted to their phone,
Hmm.
you just start. I feel like it would be very easy, as little sponges as they are, to be influenced by a phone conversation or a text thread.
Yeah.
And that's what
They
this movie showed.
Yeah, their whole sense of self and their value is tied to their virtual self and their virtual interactions. And it's hard to have get anything else outside of that because the dopamine from those that you're getting from those interactions, like the brain chemicals, are so strong compared to like an in-person thing. Like it's not as much dopamine. So they go towards the phone the more that they have access to it. Their brain is training them to stay focused in that and not get out of it. And so it just seems like their whole world and it's built that way and it's not fair. And so anyway, I'm scared to watch this documentary, but I will tonight and I'll report back.
Honestly, it'll shock you. It'll shock
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So what role do advocacy tools like the Tech Safe Learning Coalition
Mhm.
and S2D Foundation play in empowering parents?
Yeah. So Tech Safe Learning is an organization that I co-founded after that experience I talked about with my daughter's school issued iPad. I realized how many parents needed help with this. Like they didn't know what to ask their school or can I opt out or they didn't know what to do. And so I did a bunch of research and I saw that there are a lot of organizations creating templates and guides around school issued tech specifically. And so I consolidated all of that and created a bunch more. And so at techsafelearning.org, if you click get help, there's like dozens of resources for parents on really anything you can think of related to school issued technology. S2D Foundation is the nonprofit side of the business where, just helping to fund this advocacy. I'd like to get out and do more speaking and do more education for parents. It's just expensive to get around. And so that's like where I'll accept donations just to help fund the work and help get in front of more parents and help build the movement. And so that's that side of it. But then the Scrolling to Death brand is like the podcast and the Instagram and all that fun stuff. A
But you're a little bit busy right now.
little bit.
I mean, 10 years ago, did you see yourself going this route?
No, because I was a social media manager. Like that was my job was to represent businesses online on their social media platforms. And so that no, hell no. But I always had a gut feeling that I didn't like that. I was never online very much. I got rid of my Instagram in 2020, didn't have it for years. Like I wasn't a big social media user and because I knew it made me feel bad. But then when my kids got older, I was like, oh, it's really, really bad for kids. Like let me dig into that. So that shifted everything for me. So I think maybe there was like a gut feeling about it, but no, I could never have it met. Like life is crazy when you find like the thing that you're most passionate about and you're able to sort of turn it into your full-time gig like that. I'm really lucky, although I wish I didn't have, like, I wish that
You didn't have to.
these problems didn't exist, in the first place, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy because I was even just joking with someone on my honeymoon.
Hmm.
We didn't even have smartphones, and that was
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Hmm.
And so finding pictures, they're on a ruggedized actual camera that you had to
Yeah. I
point
know.
and shoot with. And so now it's just so different. And
Hmm.
it's just crazy how much tech has kind of blown up over the last couple of years.
Yeah. And it's such a rapid movement to, like, we put our kids on those screens thinking that it was exciting and safe. And that's totally reasonable that we thought that. But now we know it's not. And so we have to make different choices across the board, like parents, lawmakers, companies. And so that's what I'm trying to inspire.
Oh, absolutely. So you have a podcast. You go, is it on Instagram that you go live every week?
I post every day. I wouldn't say I go live that much. I've gone live a few times. But yeah, I post stuff every day and it's for parents. It's just like everything parents need to know on all these social media, chatbot, AI topics, gaming, school issued tech, phone, like anything. So, yeah, there's new stuff every day. But I really want parents to think about like listening to the long form podcast content. I mean, it's only 45-minute episodes, but that's where you're going to get the real meat and like the real learnings. The 1 minute videos on social media, yes, they're going to get your attention, but there's such good advice from experts and
Yeah.
parents like us on the podcast episodes, and there's nearly 300 now, so there's lots of different areas to dig into. So I really
And
want
that's
parents
on
to
your,
like, that's at scrolling2death.com with a number two.
and you have a link tree, is that correct? On your,
Yeah, what's on there now? That's a good question. No, I keep that
I
updated.
see your YouTube and Instagram,
Mhm.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, school tech resources.
Yeah.
So
So
folks can go there
basically,
for that information.
yeah. Yeah. Anything that I'm wanting to prioritize for parents that I think is really important is on the link tree, which is if you go to my Instagram bio, that is where there's like the most recent podcast episode and all different links. But yeah, scrolling2death.com would be like the main hub. And
Okay.
then if there's anything that parents like want to dig into, I just have a lot of access to experts and different people now. So if there's anything you're struggling with, I'm really pretty good about getting to all the messages, not the comments, the private messages. So let me know what you need if there's anything missing there.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, Nikki, thank you for all that you do. I wish we could just chat for hours on this topic because I think it's so important that parents wake up and recognize that just sticking your kid on a device is not the answer.
Yeah.
I love that we talked about, having actual critical thinking skills and
Hmm.
thinking through problems instead of giving them the answers. I think that's brilliant and so
Yeah.
wise. I can't remember maybe it was with Shauna, but something she said resonated with me. And it was that, when kids are in the car or when kids are going to that doctor's appointment, it's okay for them to be bored. And it's
Hmm.
okay for them to have empty spaces to think and
Yeah.
to work out those internal struggles.
Hmm.
I think so often we are filling up all those voids and those empty moments with technology or with
Hmm.
entertainment. And
Yeah.
I didn't have that. Did you have that growing up?
Yeah. No,
I
no.
mean, right? We took
Yeah.
road trips. We took road trips without TVs. Like we
Yeah.
just looked
Mhm.
out the window and counted cars if that's what we
Yeah.
had to do.
Yeah, and it's not only like okay to have your kids be bored, it's like really important for their brain development. And I've started interviewing more like neuroscientists and brain experts lately, and it's really that's where it gets really scary and really clear for parents that like starting from when they're babies, like first of all before the age of 4, like no tech interaction if anything like movies as a group, like movie together but not alone and nothing that they can hold. Like and it really affects the way that like the brain scans show damage to their brain. And so it's that important. And their brain is developing all the way till they're 25. So it's not like when they're 13, it's all good from there. Like it's still really important to be limiting access to the addictive tech that can harm their brain. And so yeah, it's scary, but it's like the more you know, like now go and make an adjustment and do
Yeah.
and like make some smart choices or safer choices if possible.
Yeah. Because you can't rewind. And it's almost like if you get started with, if you hand your kid a cell phone, if you hand your kid a laptop, or you just put them on TV all day, every day, you will see, I've seen it from my kids when I fail as a mom and I give them a little bit too much time on the TV
Yeah.
over the weekend or over summer even.
Hmm.
It's very addictive and it's very hard to then wean them off
Yeah.
um, technology. So it's like don't start a habit that you don't intend to keep because
Right. Yeah.
you
You
can't go
can't,
back.
I would say you can go back. It's hard. It's hard and there's
Yeah,
a weaning off period. It's not too late though, but yes, it's going to be a little bit hard for a couple weeks.
I
But
totally agree.
yeah, even if you've given the iPhone, like you're like, oh, never mind. Like that's okay too. What you just
Yeah,
say, tell your kid like I learned a lot of stuff and this is not safe for you and not healthy for you, and we're gonna just use a different tool or go a different direction. Like it's okay to admit that and make a different choice.
yeah, and they're probably going to be mad at you,
Yeah,
but
that's
that
okay.
but that's
You're
okay.
parenting. Yeah, parenting is
Yeah,
hard. And yeah, totally.
I know. I talk to friends about that constantly, and I'm like, but it's okay that they're mad. That's
Hmm.
kind of a normal reaction when change happens and you're not happy with it.
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah.
But it's
And these
not
kids,
okay that they still have their device that's
mhm.
perverting them.
And once they're a little bit older, they will thank you. They will tell you, I'm so glad I didn't get it younger. Or, lots of 20-year-olds are saying, like, I wish I didn't get it so young. I shouldn't have had that so young. And so you'll get affirmation. It's just going to be like later on.
It might be a century from now. No,
Right.
just kidding.
A
Maybe
decade
a
or two.
decade. Let's go with a
Yeah.
decade, not a
Yeah.
century.
Right. It'll
Um,
happen though.
yeah. So again, Nikki, thank you so much for being on today. I'm just so grateful for the advocacy that you are doing. It's important work. It's incredible watching this mom, just like myself, going out there and
Mhm.
fighting to protect kids, more on the tech side, because that is not something I'm as savvy in. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on Protect Our Kids today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Madison. I really appreciate this conversation too. And you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. And I like just want to tell parents, like, whatever you're doing, like, don't feel bad, don't feel judged. Like, just take in the information and try to make safer choices if you feel inspired to. But educating yourself is always going to help your kids. So thank you. Thank you again for having me.
We're so grateful that you're here. I'll be posting this video on our YouTube and Rumble accounts. And we do have social media, Instagram, Twitter, or X, I guess they call it now,
Mhm.
as well as Facebook. So please go check us out. And we have a website with a wealth of information at pok.org. We would love for you to go and look and see information that you can opt your child out of sexually explicit information in schools right now. We have a link right from our website for that, and as well as other information about us trying to advocate to protect kids, just like Nikki's doing in her neck of the woods. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.